Howdy folks, welcome back. It's November 12th, 2020, and it's been 9 days since the election here in this country, and what a crazy ride it has been. No? I mean, it's been crazy. I look forward to the day when things calm down a bit. This video, Sol 1450-1, is a image that we've been to before, and I'm trying to get some new looks and get some pictures in here that we haven't seen before. There are quite a few things here that are of interest that we overlooked before, so we're gonna go check it out. This thing here looks like, what is this? Something that has a missile attached. Was it a vessel? Is it a vessel? You know, it's really hard to say. I've tried different types of filtering and coloring and that kind of thing to try and bring it out a little bit. So many of the things that we're looking at on the tops of these hills are far away, so it's hard to get a very clear picture of them. But it definitely looks like some sort of a vessel, possibly a piece of vessel with a missile attached. And I'm not hyper on missiles. You know, I do see them. Not everything I see is a missile, but many things are. Many times it is a missile. Here's a hillside. You can very clearly see the layering that's gone on with all these vessels that have come down. And sometimes some of these vessels are just sitting on the top, like this one right here. It's a piece of a vessel. It looks like it could have been possibly one of those flying fuselage vessels where the top of it is collapsed in, and it looks like the nose cone of some sort of a vessel or a missile sitting in the back of this thing, just sitting there, sort of anomalous all by itself. But the layering is very clear here, and you can see where the sides have deteriorated, and we're looking at the inside side view of many vessels where the outside has deteriorated and dropped off, and as it reveals the pancaked insides of these vehicles. This thing here on top is unusual, of course. I've run out of adjectives sometimes. It reminds me of something that I had in a video where I said that we had seen UFOs spotted on Mars, and one of those UFOs had sort of a bat wing design. They weren't very good pictures, but that bat wing design looked an awful lot like this thing right here. So I don't know if they're related or not. Maybe not. It's hard to say. It's always hard to say, isn't it? Particularly since we can't go up and kick the tires on any of these things that we see. This is another vessel here. This is a classic design where you have the cockpit and the nose cone, and frequently the nose cone is painted black, just like our jet fighters and other vessels that we've had. The front end of it gets painted black. I don't know all the details on why that is, but you do see it all the time on Earth and on Mars. Big piece of hull just laying there right in the middle of this thing. And if you look right in the center of the screen, just a little bit down, you can see some of the obfuscation that NASA has put in. This is their newest and their best method, I guess, of covering things up. I guess they just don't like the blurring method anymore. But it's in various places in this picture. And by the way, this photograph I'm showing you is the same picture as one that we've seen before. It's just a different version of it. So some of this stuff is quite a bit clearer, and the obfuscation is more prominent on this one as well. And it's hard to imagine how all of these vessels that have come down have piled up and into these buttes and continue to decay for many millions of years. I don't know the number of years, of course, but it's many millions of years. I don't know how long it's taken. I should have looked it up, that these buttes in the American Southwest, how long it's taken them to stand out the way they do now. You know, I assume it's tens of millions of years. And then these things here, since it doesn't have the ways to erode that we have on Earth, lasts even longer yet. So here's some clear designs that you can see. There's a rectangular area where everything is pancaked down right in the center towards the top. It looks like there's a little triangular vessel sitting there. It's just more of the internal workings of some of these crafts that are exposed. We can see because it's broken up and eroded away. To the far right, you can see a lot of that hull area over there. Big piece of shiny metal. His sun's hitting it just right. And there are quite a few very large pieces of debris here. And a very large piece of debris comes from a very large vessel. We'll get back to that in a little bit. Very odd looking thing here. It looks almost like a creature with legs hanging over the rock, and you can see the ribs. I don't think that's what it is, but it's a very strange looking piece of debris, is it not? And here again, just lots of debris. There's nothing here that's rocks. You see these longitudinal lines that go from left to right. These are the various layers of the different size vessels that have come down and continue to erode, and pieces of hull come down and eventually creates its own sand. At least that's my contention. I really believe, since there's nothing else around but metal, that all of this sand has to be metallic. It's a crazy notion, isn't it? Well, I'll tell you one thing, your metal detector wouldn't do you any good around here. Another very, very large piece of debris laying here with the levels of the other vehicles that have come down in the background there. And look at the nose of this thing here. Presumably this has something to do with the vessel, but there's obvious technology on the very tip of it there. And it looks like big, large openings where the vessels have eroded away and parts have fallen off and exposed some of the interiors. And the interior being exposed would be exciting if it had not all pancaked down. There's just really not a lot to see. I mean, you can tell where it was, but there's no things specific to see there. Bottom left quadrant is a vessel sitting here. I didn't spend much time on it, but it is a vessel. If you want to take a close look, you can easily see that. Also, there's a lot of debris on the top. Some of the previous videos that we did on the buttes gave us many, many vessels, very, very clear. A lot of these vessels are in pieces and not as clear. Dead center at the top, you can see what looks like a piece of glass. That looks like glass from the bridge, where people would be standing behind there looking out. And actually, there's a couple vessels sitting there that are, somewhat intact, I suppose. We can't really see the other side. Another vessel here with a very pointy point on the right of it, bent up. And much of the time you'll see debris that has fallen down, and it ends up just being a big pile of junk. But the point of it is that it's junk. It's not rocks. It's not anything but debris. Another classic shape up the top there. The very center looks just like one of the aircraft that we've seen quite a few of. It's just a classic shape, not only on Mars, but here on Earth as well. You know, that's why things like airplanes are immediately recognizable. So does that mean that the fact that they've had aircraft here millions of years ago was the atmosphere thicker then, or did they have vessels that didn't rely on the thick atmosphere as much? Hard to say. Big chunks of debris. I'd love to be able to walk back in there sometime and see what's on the inside of these dark areas. Again, just more debris and more piles of junk towards the bottom there. It's really nothing that you can ascertain what it is. And here again we have more of this obfuscation. I recall reading or hearing somewhere that this obfuscation is done by computer. And very clearly on the left side coming in from the 9 o'clock position, you can see more obfuscation where it cuts off at a right angle at the bottom of it. See that? So something in there is just too crucial for us to look at. We just can't see that. Now right here in the middle we see a big bent vessel. It's bent towards the middle of it, I guess, or maybe towards the end. Either way, it's bent. And on top of this bent area here, you can see what looks like a triangular depression in the top of it. You see the triangle? And this is maybe one of the best examples that shows you where the bridge or the superstructure was sitting on top of this triangular vessel before it popped off. So as it came down, it hit hard, it bent right underneath that triangle there, which popped off the superstructure, and it went wherever they all go. They all seem to end up on the ground for the most part. Sometimes they're still attached, but mostly they're scattered about. So it's interesting when you take a look around down on the ground, you start trying to figure out, well, where is the superstructure that was on the top of there? You know, it could be any one of a number of these different superstructures or bridges, whatever you want to call them, that we see laying around. Who knows which one fit on there? And in this photograph, in this image of this butte, there's so much exposed debris and metal, all sorts of shapes throughout. It's very interesting if you have the time to sit and study this for a little while. Here's another what looks like a superstructure of a ship, along with on the right-hand side here some kind of a vessel or vessels that were resting on something, and you can see where the skin is off the top as usual and has very unusual things on the inside. It's really hard to say what they are, but you can clearly see all of that, those strange little shapes in there. Some more of the pancaked levels or decks that we're seeing. They come in at different angles frequently. They don't always just land flat on top of each other. And here's where some of it is broken away, and that would be the entrance there, I suppose, to a vessel. Goes back in there a ways. We have more things on top here. And there's this big white rock here to the left. It's not a rock, obviously. It's a piece of debris that looks like it's got various indentations. I tried to use the contrast to bring it out a little bit clearer, but it's just a piece of debris that was something at one time, and it has all of those designs on it. This looks like a vessel on the top here that was broken in half. On the left side is the bridge, and you can see the gun that was there. This is a picture that we've seen before as well. It looks like a like a Roman helmet or something like that. And right next to it, on the right of it, is, what is that? Is that a gun that's bent and turned around? Is it something else? It looks like it's meant to swivel around there, and it also seems to be attached to that Roman helmet, or that Trojan helmet, whatever you want to call it. And obviously it's not a helmet, but it sure looks like one. Kind of has a face on it. Very good sized vessel right here in front, in the light gray color. Some more superstructures that have fallen down. Within the backdrop there is pictures of the layering that has compacted down. And again, with the debris on the ground, and you can see the hull surface that's behind all this, there just is so much. I was so mesmerized by looking closely at all these items. I could go on for a whole entire day just looking at all these individual pieces laying on the ground. Some of it's recognizable, some of it isn't. Right here in the middle, in kind of a dark color, is the remains of a triangular vehicle, a small one. And the top is off of that one as well. Up on top here, we have a very large piece of hull. It's unusual that we actually have never seen a picture like this one before. It's just a narrow piece of hull. Nothing on one side, nothing on the other. Just this hull sitting there, and nothing to say about it. It's just a big piece of hull. Couple more vessels here in the background on top, one laying flat, the other one aimed up. And this one here, if you come in from the 9 o'clock position, you look at the very tip of it, it looks like there might be some glass down there. Again, part of the superstructure, or just part of an observation deck or something like that. No sense in having these things up in the air and in the out in space if you can't look out the windows. Now this right here in the middle, the gray in the middle, looks like a triangular vessel that's come down. The superstructure is still on top of it. Behind the superstructure on the left, it was broken off, and the vessel itself is in very bad shape. But it's all there, complete with superstructure, and we don't often get to see it quite like that. I've used quite a bit of filtering, contrast, brightness to try and bring these pictures out. I have one filter that's really works well on bringing out the differences of the various things, but it does alter the color. Another small triangular craft just sitting here. Looks like it's broken in half. Just sitting there on that ledge. Right next to all this other design, shall we call it. This one wall of vessel here is pretty unique looking. It looks like some levels of structure up there. Seen a couple of these pictures, a couple of these things in other pictures. Very interesting. It's hard to tell exactly why they get these great big pieces that look like that. I don't get it at all. some pretty heavy blurring in front. So in this picture of this butte, we get not only blurring, but some of that other obfuscation. All the different decks and layers there, superstructures. Now right here in the darkness in the middle is another one of those flying fuselages, and this one appears to be laying on its side, so the back is, or the top of it is facing us, where it has holes and that kind of thing, and somewhat broken up on the back side of it too. That's one of those flying fuselages. And who knows what that is up above. Now this is an area on the left side of the buttes that I did a video just on this area alone, and it was a music video. It was a lot of fun. Love the music, but this time we're going to talk about it a little bit. The picture was obviously cut off, so we can only see just what I'm showing you. That's all there is to show you up in the left top corner. And this is a very large triangular vessel that had some sort of a dome on it with something else. This big square structure on it as well. And this thing, when it came down nose first, and it plowed up all the dirt in front of it and created a big old pile of dirt and debris right in front of it. Now, the pictures of this thing really lend credence to something I was saying previously about these big vessels that have come down, very, very large vessels that are usually not recognized. First of all, because I think our mind gets in the way that there's actually, a huge vessel there versus what you would otherwise have thought was a foothill. But in this video that I did previously, there were a number of these craft, and again, if you take the time to look closely, which I tried to do previously, to me they're pretty clear. And these vessels, like the one on the far left here, it also came down on its nose and created a lot of wreckage there on the very right front of it where it slopes down. Here's another one in the background there. And here again is the picture in question. I think that's pretty definitive. Thanks, folks, for watching. You have a great night, great day, whatever it may be. And God bless you, and God bless our nation. Bye now.